The life you know is not as real as you think. What you've been living, the difficulties, the obstacles, the frustrations, may not be exactly as you imagine. Our perception of reality is often just a reflection of invisible rules that govern our behavior and thoughts. These are rules you didn't choose, and in many cases, you didn't even know they existed, yet they have shaped your life quietly and consistently. These rules, no matter how powerful they seem, are not final. They are not unchangeable, as we often believe. The most surprising part is that you have the power to rewrite them. Yes, the rules that define your reality can be modified, and the most amazing thing is that this power is inside of you. The first thing we need to understand is that the way we see the world is not an absolute truth. It is formed by beliefs we carry, often without even realizing it. These beliefs act like lenses through which we interpret what happens around us. If you believe life is full of difficulties, what your brain will notice are the difficulties. If you believe the world is full of opportunities, that is what your brain will start to notice. But how does this really work? This is where neuroscience comes in. Your brain has a system called the reticular activating system, RAS, which filters all the information you receive. The brain cannot process all the information in the world, so it selects what seems most relevant to you based on your beliefs and past experiences. This means that if you believe life is a constant struggle, your RAS will focus on the difficulties. If, on the other hand, you believe you can overcome challenges and grow from them, your RAS will start to look for the opportunities that exist within those difficulties. What you may not have realized is that you are already playing a mental game where the rules are not fixed. You can, with knowledge and practice, change these rules. Rewriting your reality starts with the perception that things don't have to be the way they are now. Perceptions can be altered, and this begins with an internal change. After all, you, more than just a passive observer of life, are the creator of everything you experience. But before we continue, I need to ask you a question. Have you ever stopped to think about how your view of the world is constantly being shaped, not only by the experiences you live, but by something deeper that you carry inside? This phenomenon is directly connected with the power of beliefs. Beliefs are not just vague ideas or passing thoughts. They act as lenses that filter everything you see, hear, and feel. They determine how you interpret each moment, every situation, and even how you react to what happens around you. Imagine that when you look at the world, you are looking through a pair of glasses. These glasses are not made of ordinary glass, but are made of deeply ingrained beliefs. The result of this is exactly what I mentioned at the beginning. If you believe the world is a tough place, full of obstacles and limitations, that is exactly what you will see around you. And if you believe there are opportunities and that you can overcome any challenge, your focus will naturally turn toward solutions and possible paths. These lenses create a unique and personal perception of reality, making it your truth. But there's a scientific explanation that underpins this process: the reticular activating system. Your brain is constantly bombarded with stimuli, sounds, images, ideas, smells, and it would be impossible to process everything at once. That's why the RAS filters only what it considers relevant based on your beliefs and past experiences. It essentially chooses what the brain will notice, ignoring or disregarding the rest. A simple example can illustrate this well. Imagine you've learned a new word, something you had never noticed before. It could be a technical term or an unfamiliar expression. In the following days, you start hearing this word everywhere. You might even think, "What's going on? I've never heard this word before, and now it seems to be everywhere." But what's really happening is that your RAS, now that this word is relevant to you, starts focusing on it and highlighting the moments it is spoken, ignoring all the other words. This experience shows how our beliefs and perceptions can literally shape our reality. What you believe, what you deem important, will be amplified by the filtering of the RAS. In other words, you will probably notice more of what your brain is trained to notice. But the good news is that beliefs are not fixed and don't need to be permanent. Although they have been shaped by a lifetime of experiences, you can reprogram them. This means you can change the lenses through which you see the world. When you change your beliefs, your RAS begins to notice new possibilities, and as a result, you begin to live a new reality. The process of change begins by identifying limiting beliefs and replacing them with those that promote a future more aligned with your desires and goals. If you realize that your reality is not a definitive sentence but something flexible and subject to transformation, you will begin to understand the power you have to create the life you want. So once again, reprogramming your beliefs is the key to breaking old patterns and finally living according to what you truly want. The reality we live is not only shaped by our perceptions and internal beliefs. Throughout our life, we've also been influenced by external forces, often invisible, that have shaped our understanding of what is possible and what is not. These forces primarily come from society, family, and culture, and they impose invisible rules that define what we can or cannot achieve. These rules are often so subtle that we barely notice their presence. From a young age, we are bombarded with messages telling us how we should live, what we should believe, and most importantly, what is possible for us. For example, many people grew up hearing the idea that you must work hard to succeed. This belief, which many consider an unquestionable fact, has been passed down from generation to generation as a fundamental value of adult life. But what does this idea really imply? It defines success as something that requires sacrifice and exhaustion, making us believe that it is impossible to achieve fulfillment without losing something significant in the process. And without realizing it, we internalize this belief, accepting it without questioning, and making it part of our personal reality. Another common example is the belief that money doesn't grow on trees. This phrase, which may seem simple, is one of the many ways society teaches us to see money as something difficult to make, something that requires hard work and is rarely within everyone's reach. This belief creates a scarcity and limitation mindset, rather than one of abundance and possibility. When we accept these ideas without questioning, we begin to live as if they were absolute truths, and they shape our relationship with money, work, and success. These truths from society, often unspoken or unquestioned, begin to root themselves deeply in our psyche, and over time, they cease to be mere beliefs and become personal norms. They start to define what we believe is possible for our lives. The scarcity mentality, the fear of failure, the focus on sacrifice and difficulty, all of this becomes part of our identity, and we start to operate within these limits without even realizing we are restricting ourselves. And without realizing it, these invisible rules begin to dictate our reality, creating a cycle of limiting beliefs that prevent us from expanding our potential. But when you become aware of these influences, you gain the power to question and challenge them. And it's precisely this challenge that can be the first step toward transformation. If you start questioning the beliefs imposed by society, your family, or the culture in which you were raised, you will realize that many of them are not absolute truths. They are simply ideas that, over time, have been repeated and absorbed without critical analysis. And by challenging these beliefs, you begin to create space for new possibilities. This doesn't mean that you will need to abandon everything you've learned, but rather that you will begin to rebuild your reality, questioning and transforming these external influences so that they serve your true purpose and not the other way around. And by doing this, you begin to create a new foundation of beliefs, more authentic and empowering, that not only challenges social norms but redefines what is possible for your life. That's why it's so important to reprogram your beliefs. Breaking the limitations imposed by these beliefs and rewriting the rules that define your reality is a powerful process, but at the same time, challenging. This reprogramming starts with a simple yet important reflection. So try to reflect. What beliefs do you carry that limit your potential? The first step toward change is identifying these beliefs. Often these beliefs are so ingrained that we don't even realize the impact they have on our decisions and behaviors. They manifest in thoughts like, "I'm not good enough," "I don't deserve to be happy," or "this isn't for people like me." These ideas may have been formed over a lifetime, through experiences, social or family influences. But what you need to understand now is that these beliefs are not immutable. They are just mental patterns that can be challenged and transformed. The first step to rewriting the rules of your life is questioning what has been imposed on you. Ask yourself, why do I believe this? Is this true for me? Is this a belief that truly serves me? When you start questioning these ideas, you begin to open space for new perspectives. And it's in this space that true transformation begins. The simple act of questioning opens the door to new possibilities, new beliefs, and ultimately, a new reality. But don't be mistaken, this process of questioning and transformation is not easy. Reprogramming your mind takes effort, self-awareness, and often a bit of discomfort. We're talking about breaking patterns that, for many years, have been considered normal. However, this discomfort is temporary, and what you gain in return is infinitely more valuable: the freedom to create a life aligned with what you truly desire. One of the most effective ways to identify and reprogram these limiting beliefs is through a practice called reality audit. This simple yet powerful exercise helps identify areas of your life where you feel stuck or dissatisfied. Start by asking yourself, where do I feel stagnant? Where am I not achieving what I desire? Once you identify these points, ask, what belief is preventing me from moving forward? For example, if you feel you can't increase your income, the limiting belief might be something like, money is hard to make, or I will never be able to be rich. Once you identify these beliefs, the next step is to challenge them. Remember, this process can be difficult at first. After all, changing what you believe about yourself, about the world, and about your possibilities is not something that happens overnight. But this is the essential work for personal transformation. This practice may seem simple, but it is one of the most powerful things you can do to create the life you want. And along the way, you will notice that the limiting beliefs that once dominated your life start to lose strength. So although it's a challenging path, this is the journey of transformation. It's not just about changing what you do or what you have, but about changing who you are in the process. Every step taken toward these new beliefs and new rules is a step toward a richer, more aligned, and more authentic reality. However, significant changes don't only happen in the mind. They are materialized through consistent actions. The beliefs you are rewriting need to be reinforced through action, or else we risk letting theory become empty words. Action is the bridge between what you think and what you live. Although your mind has started to align with your new beliefs, the true test of transformation begins when you start acting according to those new truths. And this is when many people face their greatest challenge: fear. The fear of failing, the fear of the unknown, the doubt about your ability to succeed. However, it's crucial to understand that change won't happen without movement. Action, even if small, starts to reprogram your reality in a way that thoughts alone can't. This is where the powerful idea of action as reprogramming comes in. Every small action you take, whether simple or complex, creates new neural connections in your brain. These connections reinforce the new beliefs you are cultivating. Each action you take aligned with your new beliefs creates a new way of thinking that will grow and strengthen over time. With repetition, these actions begin to replace the old beliefs, creating a new mental pattern. These small victories, often seen as simple or even insignificant, are fundamental to the process of change. When you begin to act according to your new beliefs, even if the results aren't immediate, you create momentum. Each step you take, no matter how small, strengthens your confidence and reinforces the idea that you are capable. For example, if you believe that greater financial success is possible, but still feel insecure about taking the first steps, start with small actions. This could be something as simple as saving a small amount each month or investing in a finance course. These small victories will show your brain that change is possible and that you are on the right path. The key here is consistency. The most impactful changes often don't come from big, dramatic actions but from small daily practices. These simple actions over time build a new pattern of reality. Each time you act aligned with your new beliefs, you not only reinforce them but also create a new vision of the world around you. The world begins to respond to these new actions, creating a synchronization between your mind and your external reality. So, to ensure the transformation process is effective, practice small, simple actions daily. This can include a simple morning gratitude exercise, an action that brings you closer to your goals, or even a small act of kindness toward others. These actions accumulate, and over time, you will see that the beliefs that once seemed challenging are now becoming your new reality. The journey of transformation extends beyond thought, reaching every action and every emotion you experience. Change happens when your thoughts, your emotions, and your actions align, creating a unified and powerful force that begins to shape your reality more effectively and concretely. When these three aspects are in harmony, you become capable of creating a life that accurately reflects what you desire, not only in your intentions but in the real world. The importance of this alignment is immense. When your thoughts and feelings are out of sync with your actions, you may notice that changes take longer to happen, or worse, you feel as if you're swimming against the current. But when you align what you think, what you feel, and what you do, you begin to live with more flow and clarity, as if you're working with the current, not against it. This alignment accelerates the transformation process, making what once seemed impossible now not only possible, but imminent. To facilitate this process, one of the most powerful practices you can use is visualization. This is an exercise that, although it may seem simple, has a profound impact on your brain and emotions. When you visualize your ideal future, whether a personal, professional, or financial achievement, you start generating positive emotions associated with that reality. And it's not just about imagining something. It's a visceral experience where you feel the emotions of this new reality as if it's already happening now. The emotion associated with this exercise reinforces the alignment between what you think and what you feel, making your actions more consistent and directed toward the realization of that vision. But it's important to remember that, despite all the practices, trust in the process is what sustains all of this. Even when you don't see immediate results, even when the changes still seem small or distant, you need to believe that every thought, every emotion, and every small action are building a solid foundation for the reality you are manifesting. The process is gradual, but every step taken in alignment with what you desire is a step toward real transformation. Of course, the path to transformation is never free of challenges. Although you've already taken important steps to rewrite the rules of your life and have started to shape a new reality, you will soon realize that in the process, obstacles become inevitable. These are not signs that you're doing something wrong, but rather essential moments of growth. It is in difficulties that you have the chance to reinforce your determination and test the strength of the new beliefs you are cultivating. Fear and insecurity, for example, arise as reminders of old beliefs trying to keep you in your comfort zone. These emotions may seem like an invitation to give up, but the secret lies in how you choose to react to them. Fear doesn't have to be a blockage. Rather, it's an indicator that you're moving towards something new and greater than what you already know. When you feel that fear, it's the opportunity to keep moving forward even when it tries to stop you. These obstacles, although difficult, are a fundamental part of the journey. And recognizing that change is a continuous process helps maintain your confidence. Whenever you face a challenge, remember, it's exactly there that your transformation is happening. It's not the easy moments that bring the greatest lessons, but those that require courage and persistence. To deal with emotional and mental challenges, there are practices that can be very helpful. Conscious breathing is one of the simplest and most effective techniques to stay focused in the present moment, especially when fear arises. By taking a moment, breathing deeply and focusing on your breath, you create a pause, an opportunity to reconnect with calmness and clarity. This gives you the chance to act more rationally and in alignment with your intentions rather than being guided by the anxiety of the moment. Another important strategy is self-affirmation. When fear and doubts take over, remember to reaffirm your ability to face and overcome. Phrases like, "I am stronger than my fears," or "every obstacle is an opportunity to grow," help reprogram the mind and keep the focus on your strengths, not on the difficulties. And when we repeat these kinds of affirmations, we not only keep the mind aligned with new beliefs, but also reinforce our confidence in ourselves. Over time, you will start to notice that persistence is what will most shape your new reality. It doesn't matter how big the obstacle is. What truly matters is your ability to keep going. Every step you take, even in the face of adversity, is a victory that brings you closer to your true potential. When you choose to keep going despite the challenges, you are creating a new, solid, and resilient foundation for your life. Because in the end, it's not about an easy path, but a continuous process of learning and strengthening. Thank you for embarking on this journey with me. If this video resonated with you, I invite you to like and subscribe to our channel. Share this video with others so they can benefit from this message. And don't forget to leave a comment below sharing your thoughts, reflections, and experiences. Thanks again for watching and for joining me. Take care and see you soon.